Namanda, 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 namanda.
Good morning. Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's Dharma family service, whether you're either in person or virtually via Zoom. I am Stephen Kaneko and I'll be serving as your MC. Assisting at the temple with technical support is a Zoom team of Darren and Lynn Katayama and Joey Guzman. Betty Takioka will lead us in the singing. And today we're also celebrating a very special occasion, and we'd like to wish Reverend Blayne an early happy birthday. Please rise and let us start the service with the Vandana and Tisarana. Please chant both the Pali and English parts together with Reverend Blayne. Those of you on Zoom, please be sure you have muted your mics.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namanda, Butsunamanda, 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 Butsunamanda.
Please remain standing for an aspiration, which I will share with you. These are words of Shinran from the hymns of the Pure Land. The wondrous land, vast beyond measurement, is made up of adornments fulfilled with the primal vow. So bow down to and take refuge in Amida, the Pure One, who proudly grasps all beings. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. And please use both incense burners. Reverend Blayne will now lead us in chanting the sutra, verses reaffirming the vows. Words can be found on page 117 of the red Jodo Shinshu service book and on the screen. So again, please, page 117 in the service book.
The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme awakening. The Ju-Seige, or verses reaffirming the vows, is a poetic summary of the basic intention of the 48 vows made by me, the Buddha, to attain supreme enlightenment, to save all who are suffering, and to declare universal salvation through the name Namo Amida Butsu. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows of compassion made to liberate and to awaken all beings. reach the highest path. If I fail in any way, may I not attain Buddhahood. Should I not provide to all for countless kalpas to come, aid in times of suffering, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will reach enlightenment, but unless my Buddha name resounds throughout the universe, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will practice the noble path, wisely, mindfully, free of greed. Seek to reach the supreme way, be a guide to one and all. May my power shine great light to illumine and dispel the darkness of the three poisons, and save all from suffering. With eyes of wisdom I'll remove the darkness of ignorance. I will close all evil paths, open gates of highest good. When I attain Buddhahood, light will shine throughout all lands, light brighter than sun and moon, outshining all heavenly lights, giving my virtues to all, not forsaking anyone. I will proclaim the Dharma like the roar of a great lion, bowing before all Buddhas, steadfastly gaining virtues, with wisdom fulfilling my vows. I shall be a guide to all, like the wisdom of my teacher. May my wisdom also shine all throughout the universe, and illumine one and all. If I shall fulfill these vows, may all lands tremble with joy. From the heavens wondrous flowers rain down upon all the lands. Namu. virtue of Amin as well. It shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namandab, 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 namandab.
Please rise for the singing of the Gatha, Namanda Beautiful Sunday. Words can be found on page 7 in the orange folders in the back of the pews and on the screen. Again, page 7 in the orange folders.
Sunday morning, peace in my heart. Ponchos ringing, we're ready to start. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Shikran started our whole kanji. Buddha's Dharma, perfect for me. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Namanda, beautiful Sunday. We say Namanda, beautiful day. When we think pure thoughts, life can be happy. Say Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Buddha, he's calling to me, and trust in him, peace and harmony. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Join our Sangha, you'll see the way to live the Dharma every day. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Namanda, beautiful Sunday. We say Namanda, beautiful day. When we think pure thoughts, life can be happy. Say Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Namanda, beautiful Sunday. We say Namanda, beautiful day. When we think pure thoughts, life can be happy. Say Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Namanda, beautiful Sunday. We say Namanda, beautiful day. When we think pure thoughts, life can be happy. Say Namanda, it's a beautiful day.
Thank you, Auntie Betty. You may be seated. Reverend Blayne will share today's Dharma message.
Namandam, 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 namandam. Hi, good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day, isn't it? Big change from yesterday. So thank you for being here on this beautiful Sunday morning. And so, last week we began an introduction to our temple altar, and we discussed the symbolism and the meaning of the image of Amida Buddha enshrined in our altar. But as you can see, there is so much here in addition to the sandalwood statue, the very unique and special sandalwood statue of Amida that is enshrined here in the altar. In the Jodo Shinshu tradition, the Hondo, or the main hall, is the principal building of the temple complex, right? And it's divided into two parts. So we have the Naijing, the inner or the altar area here, and the Geijing, which is the outer or the seating area. Now, prior to the rise of the Pure Land schools in the 13th century, the Onaijing within a temple actually took up most of the space. If you've ever been to Japan and been to some of the really ancient temples, right, the altar area is so huge and the space for people to come is quite small, right? And so this was to accommodate the large number of monks who lived on temple grounds as rituals were conducted by the monks alone. Lay people attended services purely as observers in the Geijing. However, with the new emphasis placed on communal gatherings of both laypersons and priests together by the Pure Land schools, resulted in the shrinking of the Naijing, right, and the expanding of the Geijing to accommodate more people. In Jodo Shinshu, clergy are not monks or nuns, rather priests who live like our founder Shinran did, as neither monk nor lay, with the understanding of how Amida's compassion embraces us all equally and without exception. This is why we are ondobo ondogyo, or fellow travelers, along this path of Nembutsu. We are taught that the Onaijing represents the Pure Land, the realm of enlightenment as described in the sutras. The Pure Land is presented as a place consisting of three types of adornments: Amida Buddha, innumerable bodhisattvas, and things in the environment, such as the land, the buildings, and trees. The Pure Land is a place of practice where Buddha teaches, where bodhisattvas as seekers of the Dharma listen to the Buddha, and where the things in the land, such as the ground, the trees, the rivers, animals, and houses are constantly teaching the Dharma to the people in the land. The conditions are perfect for learning and for practicing the Dharma, which enables one to attain awakening. This Pure Land was created by Amida through the fulfillment of the vows made as a bodhisattva out of compassion for those of us who are incapable of attaining enlightenment on our own. This is why attaining birth in the Pure Land means we will attain enlightenment and become a Buddha who returns to this world to guide others to their own awakening. So I want to share some slides today. So on the first slide is the Gohonzon, right? Or the image of Amida, stands, as you can see, right, within a highly ornate structure. Now this is called the Kuden, or Gokuden, which is one of the structures in the Pure Land, as described in the Contemplation Sutra. Now the architecture resembles a Japanese palace in the Chinese Tang Dynasty style. Now the pillars and the roof beams are painted gold to signify purity, virtue, and merit. It is often adorned with figures of dragons, peacocks, elephants, and lions, expressing the Buddha's spiritual power resounding voice of truth and majesty. Now, hanging from the corners of the roof are necklace-like ornaments called sumi yoraku, ornaments worn around the neck and body of nobles in ancient India. They represent the Buddha's teaching of how nobility is not a matter of one's birth, but rather a result of one's actions, right? That by virtue of our birth is not a guarantee of being noble, but our actions and what we do on an everyday basis matters and is the reason for our being noble. That our nobility is attained through noble deeds. As you can see, our beautiful yoraku were replaced as part of our 125th anniversary last year. You will also see two lanterns called suri toro, which hang in front of the kuden. Traditionally, in most Jodo Shinshu temples, they're hexagonal lanterns. We have more square lanterns here. And the story of these lanterns is that they're said to be derived from lanterns made by Shakyamuni Buddha for his disciples, so that when traveling at night, they could avoid killing insects and small creatures on the road as they traveled. And so you might also notice the bright green tassels hanging in front of Amida, which partly covers Amida's face. This is to represent how ultimate truth is never seen completely because we see it from our own unique point of view. It reminds us of how there is deeper truth to be seen in all things. And so there's also a pair of circular lamps here called, which is decorated with chrysanthemum flowers. And so this circle of light represents enlightenment, perfect, without beginning or end. Kiku Rinto lamps are particular to Jodo Shinshu Honganji Ha temples. And so if you see these lamps in a temple, likelihood is that they are a Nishi Honganji or Jodo Shinshu Honganji Ha temples. And so the kuden, right, so this palace structure sits on a throne, a rectangular dais, or a throne called a shumidan. Now the throne is widest on the top and the bottom and narrow in the middle. It is said to be the shape of the cosmic mountain, Sumeru, in Indian cosmology. The shumidan is made of red and black lacquered wood and is decorated with floral, wave, and animal designs. In front of the image of Amida is a small table called the, Linda, what's the name of the table? What's the name of the table? Uwajoku, very good. Now 4 items are placed on this table, right? So there's 2 vases here with greenery, and these vases are called kebyo, which often hold greens. And so water, right? So these are actually water offering vessels. And water is a symbol of life, and the flowing water is a symbol of the Dharma, which is ever flowing and which is ever pure. A candle and an incense burner. You will often see, like we have for Sunday services, obupan, or rice offering, placed on this table. Rice is a basic staple which is a representation of life. You will often see offerings of rice and other foods, like fruits and snacks and other things, in front of the altar. In Jodo Shinshu, the practice of making food offerings is not for consecrating, or offering food to deities or gods in exchange for favors. Rather, they are used as symbolic means for us to acknowledge Amida's compassionate working in our lives. You will notice Obupan also placed in front of, in addition to placed in front of Amida, the images of Shinran and Renyo. So in front of the Shumidan, right, is a large table here called the Maejoku, which is ornately carved and adorned with animals and flowers. Here you can see various birds that are said to reside in the Pure Land, and their songs all proclaim and spread the Dharma. Here on this picture, you can see a two-headed bird, right? And so it is said what these two-headed birds reside in the Pure Land and come from Buddhist teaching, right? And so, like I described about the lessons in the peacock here in this carvings up here above the altar, right? How a peacock takes in poison, transforms it into something different, right? The story of the two-headed bird is a story of our interdependence, right? That in the story of this two-headed bird, they lived together, you know, and so when one bird was sleeping, one would eat, another would sleep, and then the other head would eat, and then one day, right, one of the heads got jealous of the other. And so how come this one's getting all the food? And, you know, and so decided to poison the food, right? And not realizing and not recognizing that they shared the same body, right? And so the bird poisoned himself, and they both died, right? So it's a reminder of our fundamental connection to each other and how important it is for us to be mindful of that connection to all things in this world. And so on the Maejoku is an arrangement of candles, incense, and flowers, right? The light of the candle, like the lanterns on the altar, represent the dispelling of darkness, just as the infinite light of higher wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha illumines the darkness and ignorance of all humanity. Cut flowers here are used to represent the impermanence of life and serve as a reminder of the necessity of awakening to the truth of the Buddha Dharma. Although we place them in water and they continue to live for some time, they are nevertheless dying. However, we are able to appreciate their beauty and vibrancy. As human beings, we too are dying from the instant we are born. Therefore, the altar flowers are not mere decorations, but are constant reminders of our human existence. The offering of incense symbolizes the purification of our minds and bodies before paying homage to the Buddha. The scent enhances the spiritual atmosphere of this temple and helps to transform our awareness, our perception of the sacred. Right, so our human body is likened to the incense itself. While the smoke of the incense rises, it releases a beautiful scent, which fills the room. At the same time, the smoke rising from the burning incense reminds us of the transiency of all existence. With our human bodies, even the breath and life that rise from it, it is simultaneously aging and dying. As you can see here in front of the Maejoku table is a set called the Raiban, or a ceremonial dais, where a priest sometimes conducts special formal ceremonies. I think you've seen me use this a few times, and Bishop Matsumoto used it when he came for our anniversary celebration. And so on the small table, right in front of the Raiban, you can see a rack of scrolls. And these are the sutras, the Pure Land Sutras, the 3 sutras that are central to Jodo Shinshu, right? And so they are the Sutra on the Buddha of Immeasurable Life in 2 volumes, working from the right to the left, the Contemplation Sutra, and the Amida Sutra. So those 3 sutras are the core of our scriptures in this Pure Land tradition. And so often, we're asked, how come we don't have Shakyamuni Buddha on our altar, right, in Jodo Shinshu? And I was recently listening to a lecture by Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyaji, who was our summer session speaker. And he mentioned, right, that we do have Shakyamuni on our altar. Because Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha, is represented by the scrolls, right? And because the words of the Buddha are written on those scrolls. And as the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha lay dying, right, he said he would be present in his teachings, right? And so we do have Shakyamuni in a different form, right? Just as our loved ones, right, and those that we have influenced our lives, right, come to us in different forms to teach us continually throughout our lives. And so you will notice several portraits on the altar as well, right? So on this side is Shinran Shonin, right, the founder of Jodo Shinshu. And also here on this side is a portrait of Shotoku Taishi. Prince Shotoku was an ardent supporter of Buddhism, and it was through his influence that Buddhism spread throughout Japan. Shinran particularly revered Shotoku Taishi as a spiritual ancestor. On the left side, we have enshrined a portrait of Rennyo Shonin, who was the 8th Gomonshu, or the spiritual head of the Honganji. And we honor him as the great reformer and the restorer of the Honganji. Because up until his time, right, after Shinran and leading up to Rennyo's time, Jodo Shinshu was dying out, right? And it was through Rennyo's efforts and his innovations that renewed and restored the Honganji and made the Honganji and Jodo Shinshu the teaching and the organization that we have to enjoy today, right? And so this is why we honor Rennyo on our altars. And so we also here have a portrait scroll of the 7 masters of Jodo Shinshu. And so these are teachers whom Shinran revered for their clarifying insight into the meaning of the Pure Land teaching. There is Nagarjuna and Vasubandhu from India, Tanluan, Taochuo, and Shandao from China, and Genshing and Honen, Shinran's direct master, as one of the 7 masters here. And so the scrolls of Shotoku Taishi and 7 masters were installed also as part of our 125th anniversary last year. And we are the only temple within Hawaii Kyodan, in one of our 32 temples across the state, that has these portraits of Shotoku Taishi and the 7 masters. And so we can feel really proud and grateful for this opportunity to have them. And so, as you can see, right, our altar tells a sacred story, right, of the working of enlightenment. These adornments are beautiful symbols or external emblems of the truth of the Buddha Dharma. Ultimate truth is actually ineffable. It's void of shape, color, and form. However, since this concept is so difficult for us to understand and to grasp, such adornments are used to teach and can also be an expression of our understanding and gratitude for the teaching of higher wisdom and compassion. When we come to the temple, or when we sit in front of our home altars, we can catch a glimpse of the Pure Land, represented in the beautiful adornments. However, we can also encounter the activity of the Pure Land, wherever we are, through the working of Namo Amida Butsu, helping us to transform our perspectives in being able to see the beauty and the wonder and the joy of life in all of its complexities, in all of its joys, in all of its sorrows. And the power of the Nembutsu transforms our spiritual suffering into a source of awakening for each of us. For each of us is an adornment as well in the Pure Land of life. So please join me in Gassho to recite Amida's honored name in gratitude, joy, and awareness, entrusting in the Buddha of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Thank you. And if anybody would like to, after service, during refreshments time, you're welcome to come up. I can show you around the Naijing if you'd like. So.
Thank you, Reverend Blayne, for that message. I found it very interesting to now to understand the meaning behind all of the objects in our beautiful altar. It'll give me more appreciation when we clean it every once in a while. I know not to drop this one because it means this, and try to get it in our right particular order. So thank you for the background. It's very, very interesting. Linda Nagai will lead us in unison reading of the 6 paramitas. Words can be found on the handouts and on the screen. Please join her in reciting the words out loud.
The 6 paramitas. Dana, giving. May I be generous and helpful. Sila, guidance. May I be guided by the Buddhist precepts. Shanti, tolerance. May I regard the mistakes of others with sympathy. Vidya, perseverance. May I do my best in all things. Dhyana, meditation. May I reflect deeply on my life through the Buddha's teachings. Prajna, insight. May I understand the meaning of Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Linda. We will now have the offertory presentation. So mahalo for your generosity, everyone. Please rise as we will conclude this service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu.
Namandam, 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 namandam.
You may be seated. And this concludes today's service. And here are some announcements. Upcoming schedule of services, events, and reminders. It's Bon Dance time on Saturday, July 22nd. So let's all gather from 6 p.m. through 10 p.m. for some fun dancing while honoring our ancestors. Check out the many food and craft fair booths as well. Get your once a year Ono Andagi and Kona Honganji Manju fix. An added feature will be the debut of our newly designed Bon Dance towels. It's a one-of-a-kind design unique to Kona. So mark your calendars and please join us. And the success of our Bon Dance event depends on many hands working together. We really need your help, so please call our temple office to volunteer for any of the job openings. A list is included in Reverend Blayne's weekly email also. Prior to the Bon Dance, Hatsubon service will be held at 4 p.m. and attendance is limited to Hatsubon families who have lost a family member since Obon 2022. There will be no Sunday service on July 23rd, so we can all rest and recover from Bon dancing. So thank you, Reverend Blayne. On Sunday, July 30th, we'll be observing Obon family service at 10 a.m. Our in-person guest speaker will be Reverend Kerry Kiyohara from Makawao Honganji on Maui. Sunday service on August 6th will be the annual Hiroshima Remembrance Service at 10 a.m., sponsored by the Kona Hiroshima Kenjin Kai. Guest speaker will be Mr. Tadashi Hosokawa. There will be no Sunday services on August 13th and 20th. Reminders. The last two Bon Dance practices will be held at 7:30 this Monday, July 17th, and Thursday, July 20th. Much appreciated help is needed for manju making, starting from prepping on Thursday evening, July 20th, and actual manju making on Friday, July 21st. Be sure to open, read, and click on attachments and interesting links that were included with Reverend Blayne's weekly update, which he emailed this past Friday. 2023 Temple membership update forms have been mailed out and are also attached to Reverend Blayne's email. Please be sure to complete and return them as soon as possible. Mahalo. Free COVID test kits are still available, so pick those up if you need. And are there any other announcements, Reverend Blayne or anyone else?
Also for our Obon family service on July 30th, like previous years, we will be remembering and honoring loved ones who have passed on. If you'd like to remember, please submit their names to the temple office. And so we'll be reading the names during the service. So.
Thank you, Stephen, for mentioning the help for manju making. So Thursday night, if we don't need that many hands for Thursday night, but we're making the ung balls and prepping for manju making the next day. But on Friday, we will need a lot of hands on deck so we can finish up manju. So we have different stations. It's like an assembly line. If you haven't done it, it's kind of fun. And lunch will be provided, so you don't have to go out and buy your own lunch. We have lunch that day. So please, and the fellowship is awesome. So if you haven't made manju, it's fun. If you don't like to make it, you can pack it. You can and maybe put those beautiful stamps on it or different things. There's many jobs to do. So we really need your help on Friday. Also was mentioned that there will be no service on Sunday, August the 13th. 13th here. But we will be having, if you would like to join us, we will have an Obong service at the Hololoa Honganji. So it's not as big as this. And I swear the benches shrunk since I was there, but they said I was small then, so it looked big. But it could probably hold 30 people, but it's outside too. But we will have that an obong service there. So if you would like to have 10, 10, 10 o'clock, same thing, 10 o'clock, yeah. So if you haven't seen the Hololo Honganji, it's actually beautiful. It seemed like it was preserved in time. The Naijing looks like somebody put it in a time capsule and opened it up after, I don't know, 20, 30 years. It is beautiful. So it's something to see. So if you'd like to come up, and it's by across the street from Paul's place. Oh no, no Paul, yeah, Paul's place. Yeah, across the street where the theater burned. The theater that burned is right next door to that. So there's parking along there too, and there's some parking inside. So please, if you're not doing anything Sunday and you'd like to come to Obong service, another Obong service, please join us at Hololo on August the 13th, 10 o'clock. Thank you. Oh, Friday, 5 o'clock. I mean, sorry, Thursday, 5 o'clock. And then I'll have a small something to eat because I know it'll probably go to about 6:37 maybe. But then after that, you can go have pole dance practice, right? 7:30, right? Yeah. So after you get through helping us with the ang balls and everything, head off to the hall, get your last bone dance practice in, and be ready for Saturday. And Friday we're starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Nope. Okay. So those of you on Zoom, you may leave at this time. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the conference room. Mahalo to anyone who brought goodies to share. Your attendance today is most sincerely appreciated. So please stay safe, and we hope to see you at future Sunday services. Thank you.